Today we shall take up the MCQs, that is multiple choice questions, on a chapter from the book The Many Worlds of Literature. We have already discussed the story The Inspector of Schools by M. Atar Tahir. It is a story about a school inspector and a schoolmaster who are very dedicated towards their works, but they work in very pitiable conditions. So through this story, the writer he gives a real picture of the condition of a village school. The inspector of schools he visits a village in order to inspect the school there, and to his surprise, he learns that the school has no building and it keeps on shifting. After a lot of efforts, he finally reaches to the place where the school is being run, that is in the sugarcane field, and there he meets the schoolmaster and the students. Now, in order to test the students, he gives them certain exercises. For example, he asks one of the students to read from an Urdu book. He then asks a student to recite a poem, and he even asks students to solve some maths questions. The inspector of schools is really impressed uh, by the response of these students, and this shows the master's hard work and sincerity and dedication. So the master he also feels very confident because uh, the students have responded well, and now there is a little conversation between the schoolmaster and the school inspector, and the schoolmaster he asks for a plot of land for the school building. So he asked the school inspector to recommend a plot of land for the school building in this village. Now, the school inspector he is helpless. He knows that his recommendations have always been unheard, and he had been sending recommendations to the planning and development department, but every time his recommendations they are unheard. So here both the schoolmaster and the school inspector they want to bring about the changes, and but both of them they are helpless, and this makes the conditions very depressing. So this story it gives a real picture of a village school. So today we'll take up the MCQs on this chapter. Now the very first one, no one was sure about the location of the school because no one was sure about the location of the school. What is the reason for it? There are four options. The school was nearby the village. No one was interested in school. They remained busy with farming and cattle rearing, and it kept shifting. So the answer to this question is that no one was sure about the location of the school because it kept shifting. Next question, who rejected inspector's recommendations? And the options are first the locals, second is the state government, third is the Department of Education, and fourth is the Department of Planning and Development. So who rejected inspector's recommendation? It is the Department of Planning and Development. How many classes did the teacher engage? So there was a single teacher and he was engaging classes. How many classes? From 1 to 6. Next. The sentence, I know that a plot is an expensive proposition, is spoken by the sentence, I know that a plot is an expensive proposition, It is spoken by? It is spoken by the teacher in the inspector of schools. It is spoken by the master. Then the inspector of schools is written by, the options are M.K. Gandhi, M. Attar Tahir, Rudyard Kipling, Robert Epstein. So the answer to this question is M. Attar Tahir. Why could the inspector see the proposal rejected? Why could the inspector see the proposal rejected? The proposal, that is for a plot of land for the school building, that was the proposal. And why he saw it to be rejected? Because there are four options. He thought that the locals would deny. He knows that government gives no land for the building. He has no authority, and the department would ask for bribery. So the answer to this question, the rule was that the local uh, should provide the need for the school, whatever was required for the school. For the land was to be provided by the locals. So here the answer to this question would be he knows that the government gives no land for the building. Then even you get questions on the vocabulary part, that is the words are given and you are asked to give the meanings. Sometimes you also asked for to reply the antonyms, that is synonyms and antonyms both are asked. Now for this you have to have a thorough reading of the chapter, and the difficult words that you come across you should look for their meaning. And some of the meanings are given at the end of the chapter. There is a glossary section and there you will get the words with their meanings. So here we'll take up a few words. For example, filthy means dirty. Then nonplussed means, there are four options: confused, gulped, prescribed and swelled. And the meaning of nonplussed here is confused. The word thumbed is used to show. Now here the word thumbed has been used. For example, it is given here when the inspector of schools thumbed through the Urdu textbook. Thumbed through means to turn the pages. So here the options given are disapproval, someone's control, act of leafing up the pages, someone who is clumsy. So the answer is act of leafing up the pages. Then where did the inspector of school find the school? Where did he find the school finally? In the middle of the sugarcane field. Masterji was a dash teacher. The options given here are: he was indifferent, he was a strict teacher, he was complacent, he was dedicated. And the answer is he was dedicated. How many students were there in the school? There were about 40 students in the school. Why didn't the villagers want a school? Options given are: because they thought that Masterji did not work, because they thought that the children were wasting their time, because they thought that the students would be spoiled, and because they wanted to send their children to another school. So the correct option here is, it has been given in the chapter that because they thought that the students were wasting their time. Now uh, the parents, they did not want to send their children to school because they thought that the children, they wasted their time in school. In that time they could help their parents either in farming or cattle rearing. Now antonyms have been asked. The antonyms of filthy, the meaning of filthy is dirty. The antonym of filthy is, the options given are quiet, intelligent, pleasant or clean. So the answer is clean. And the antonym of tedious, tedious is boring, boisterous, interesting or audible. So the antonym of tedious is interesting. So these are the types of questions that can be asked. We took up these MCQs so that you have an idea about the questions that can be asked from the chapters in this book. So, we have taken just one chapter for practice. You can prepare your questions in this manner.